But let's move on to the next one, brother. Man, yesterday's games, game sevens, two game sevens in the NBA playoffs.
Listen, there's a reason why they say the two best words in sports is Game Seven, man.
Two
But
words.
for my, I know, and I don't know if you want to talk about my Knicks first,
We're
but
gonna start with your Knicks first. I
but
wasn't
but
gonna say anything. I was
but
waiting for you to start.
listen. I've been saying it from the beginning, man.
I didn't even get
Eventually,
to answer my question yet. He's already ready to defend himself.
no, I'm not.
Unbelievable,
No,
man.
no,
It's
no, no, no.
unbelievable.
Listen, bro. I'm not even gonna defend the Knicks. I'm just gonna state the facts. I knew that eventually they're gonna run out of steam, man. It's almost impossible to be playing six deep and then play a few minutes here and there. In the playoff, playing against a deep, talented team like that. I mean, they had Siakam over there looking like Michael Jordan, man. That guy was hit. Well, that guy was in shots from everywhere. So I mean, I'm not. Of course, I'm disappointed. But listen, we overachieved. We are way ahead of schedule of what we thought after we made that trade for Bronson. We are way ahead of schedule. So I'm disappointed. But I'm very looking forward to next season, what we do in the off season, and how many additions we can bring, and the injuries players are coming back. So it's looking good. I know you guys gonna talk junk about the Knicks, but listen, I'm proud of the Knicks, man. I'm ready for next season. It wasn't the year. Next year will be the year.
I'm very proud of New York.
Yeah. Oh, hold on,
I'm
hold on, hold
so
on, Angie. Let me start with this, right?
Come on, Angie. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Angie. But before you start, I just want everybody to know that it was last night's game. The Indiana Pacers, as you guys see the score, 130 to Knicks 109. Indiana win the series 4-3 after New York start the series with 2-0,
Yeah,
heading to Indiana. Back and forth with the home teams taking games, and they game seven where everybody expected the Knicks because they were home the way the series was going.
exactly.
Everybody expected the Knicks to show up, and a few injuries happened along the way, as it happened to every other team.
Right. It is true.
You
Oh,
know,
I'm sorry. I don't mean to cut you off, but one more thing also. Indiana shot their percentage from the floor yesterday was one of the best in the history of playoff basketball.
I
So
was gonna get to that. Yep,
sometimes a team
67.1%,
a
the
team
highest
just
in NBA
a team
history.
just come out hot and there's nothing you can do about it. We see this all the time in March Madness when a lesser team like Emisa's just shoot threes and a power major just loses. And I'm not comparing saying the Knicks are power conference and the Pacers are less, but I'm just saying sometimes when teams are so evenly matched and one team is shooting like that, you just got to say, man, we tried our best, but they can't miss a shot, man. Everything was going in, man. It seems like the Knicks basket is the whole Hudson River or it's the whole the ocean. They're just going in easy. And for the Knicks, it was hard. And then on top of that, in the fourth quarter, Bronson got hurt
Right,
and he was out of the game. That didn't help either. And that's not the excuse. Even if he
right.
stayed in the game, I think they still would have lost. But I'm just saying, so many things went against them that they just couldn't overcome.
So, Angie, go ahead, give me your take on the Knicks and their series against Indiana. I think I picked. Did you pick Indiana to win this series?
absolutely. I picked them in six.
He always does.
I was never not gonna pick the Knicks or never gonna pick the Knicks. I'm sorry.
And
I was never gonna pick it was whoever the Knicks were playing, I had them. I had opposite. No,
okay.
I mean, like I said from the beginning, I was really excited about this matchup because it's two young teams. They're going up and down the court. I had to pace them to six, but it went seven, and I think the two best series of the playoffs went seven with the Timberwolves Nuggets, and then this series. I injuries kind of put a little sting on it. Who knows what the Knicks would have been like if they would have had OG for the full series? He tried to give it a go. The things with hamstrings and soft tissue injuries like that, one little twitch, you can't move, you can't cut. There's nothing. He made it. He made a three, like, but he's just shooting. You try and cut. You try and set. It's not going to happen. He played 5 minutes. I don't think he played the rest of the game after that.
Right.
Brunson's injury was very unfortunate. Even if it was close and the Knicks would have pulled off, then that just makes them the even lesser opponent if they would have advanced to play the Celtics. But
Right.
like Solomon said, Brunson in there or not, they weren't going to win that game. The Pacers were shooting at a clip that the NBA has not seen: 67.1% to finish the game, 75%, I think, to in the first half.
Yeah.
It was amazing to watch from a just an NBA fan fanboy. I just love. It's nothing against Solomon. It's nothing. Listen, Solomon, you're a great guy. Knicks, they're a great team. It's the fans that are there in New York City that come out after game one of the Philly game, and I'm even I'll even go back to when they were playing the Hawks when Ice Tray ended up beating them. Why are we taking the streets of Manhattan saying "Go New York, go New York, let's go New York"? It's game one of a first round game. You're playing Philly, who MB's hurt. You're coming out. I get the whole pride thing, but to somebody that doesn't like the Knicks, it comes off as very cocky,
Bro,
It
very
come out like a
cocky.
Cowboy fan nation,
listen,
right?
but listen, man. Last time we won a championship was 1972. We've
Yeah, I
never
wasn't around.
listen. We've neither was that.
Me neither.
We've never won anything. So when we win a
Yeah.
playoff series, it's a big deal. I don't see anything wrong with that. I mean, I guess if you don't like the Knicks, it's a bad look. But listen, people are just happy to win some games, man. We've been so bad for like such a long time. So when we get a little better, people get a little excited. As long as they're not causing trouble, nothing wrong with that.
Listen, the only time New York celebrates anything around there is New Year's Eve. That's it. That's the biggest party in New York one time a year, man. No, I mean I get it, but like when I'm watching the videos, it looks like a damn parade.
Right.
Just get to the fucking subway and
But
go
look,
home. All right,
bro, man,
head home to your borough.
you got you got 8 million people in a small area. Come on, man. Of course, any event gonna be big. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just New York, man.
The
Oh
Madison
no, yeah,
Square Garden, the
definitely.
Madison Square Garden expected a lot of things to happen last night. They expected this to happen, but against Indiana and Reggie Miller, a lot of t-shirts going around with the choking,
Yeah.
everything's just coming off. And to see
Yeah,
the Madison Square Garden was so quiet. Like in this series,
yeah.
it's been the quiet I've seen it. And
Yo, from the beginning, the way they were
it
just
was already
shooting,
over.
it was over,
So
man.
for me, it
Yeah.
seems like one team figured out in game six that we could beat this team. We just gotta come out, be ourselves. And this is exactly what Indiana is. They actually put points on the board. They know how to shoot them threes or they know how to score.
Yeah.
And the New York Knicks, it's too much injury to actually criticize them the way I want to. So
Hmm.
but like this probably gonna be the easiest route for them to make it to conference finals compared to what happened to the other teams like the Bucks, the injury, the 76ers. We don't know what Miami is gonna be like. And so many different things could happen next season. So this for me, this could be the easiest route for them to make it to the conference finals. But then injuries happen. He's the New York Knicks, man. Like what could go wrong will go wrong. It just
Yeah.
happened like that for the past 40 years. You know,
No, no. The past years, we knew they didn't have a shot to go anywhere. We knew they were bad. Even Knicks fans, we knew that they're not going anywhere. Even when Camelo came to back to New York,
right.
man, we knew they're gonna be any good.
Yeah, but you said
So
that you guys were ahead of schedule. So
yeah,
like
we in my book we're ahead of schedule because after we signed Bronson, I don't think anybody expected the Knicks to get this far this season. You know what I mean? With the injuries and the few moves that we made
uh-huh.
and the draft picks that we have, I think we have like 10 or 11 in the next couple of years. Plus, we're gonna have a lot of cash to sign good all-star players. Now it depends who be available, but we are set up for success for the next 5, 10 years.
Where did
It
you
looks
guys
good.
get a OG from? Like what's the other
Toronto.
trade you got Toronto, right? But Indiana went to go get the better Toronto player because
See,
he's the
see,
one that showed up last night. Because
actually,
Siakam was balling.
I was gonna say without Siakam, the Pacers wouldn't have gone this far. It's a fact.
And they learned how to use him in game six. And then game seven, he just exposed the
Is
whole
he was the only player on the court that had won the championship. Really, who else has won a championship on that court? Nobody. Well,
damn. Damn.
I mean,
But like my last question is, where does the Knicks go from here? Should they had another superstar, or just think they'll be fine with the same roster if everybody's healthy?
I don't know what their contract situations are, who's in their last contract, who's leaving regardless. I don't know. That question has to be answered at a later date. I don't know what they're doing with OG past this year. I know they picked him up at the trade deadline. I don't know if they took over the Raptors contract or whatever the case is. But I think they're fine. I have a hot take. I think that this playoff run might hurt them because a lot of the players that were playing were bench players to start the year, or players that they got from other,
Mm,
or players they got from other teams.
right.
So now we got bench players that look like they can play starting roles that might get looks from other teams that might get snatched away. Problem with that could be it could just work for New York. It might not work in Milwaukee if Milwaukee picks up Josh Hart. I'm just throwing that out there. He might not work in their system. Then he looks like a bum. You know what I mean? So I think it might hurt the Knicks a little bit because they have great pieces. They have great role players that might get taken pending the contract situations that I'm not sure of at this point. But they have a solid team. They really do. I think they need to add another piece. I don't think they need another superstar because you add another superstar, then you're taking away role players, and next thing you know, you're the Phoenix Suns. So, or you end up like the Nets who try and go all in for 2 3 years, and now they're going to be
Right.
out for the next 5 or 6.
Right.
So I think the Knicks are fine where they are. I think they have to add some more role players. I think they have to get healthy first off and foremost, and then we can go from there. I think they're okay. They're not going to win anything still, but they're going to be relevant.
Listen, and listen, I'm not predicting they're gonna win a championship next season, but when it comes to the contracts, right now the Knicks are looking good. I think all the pieces they have now, according to what we've been hearing, they're gonna try to keep everybody. They have the
Okay.
money, they have the picks, they have everything they need to make a super team. And I'm just saying, and I'm not saying they can just go pick up any superstar and bring him to New York. He has to be the right kind of player that can fit the system.
Right.
They have a certain system like a lot of games that the Knicks won, they were not the better team. They were just the team that played harder on that night. Like all these teams that they played that they beat, the Knicks were never the better team. They didn't have the better players. They might have a better point guard, but the rest of the supporting role players were not as good as the other teams. So if they're gonna bring in another superstar, I think they're gonna have it has to be a right fit. I've heard people mention Donovan Mitchell from Cleveland. I've heard people mention Clay Thompson, and I don't know what would work, but like you said earlier, Angel, they can't bring another superstar that are gonna take the ball away from Bronson because no matter who they bring in, Bronson is still the head of that team. He has to remain to be in charge of that team. So whoever start the bring in, they have to accept that role and they have to play hard. We know in New York, we play hard. We play defense. You can't bring like a KD or anything like. And I'm not saying KD is not a great player, but I don't. Well, actually, KD might be better fit as compared to like let's
Mitchell.
say right. Mitchell is another point guard that needs the ball in his hand the whole time. So I don't know. I mean, I guess if he came, I heard his dad is like he works for the Mets, I think, and he loves New York, and I think he's from New York area. So maybe you want to play for the Knicks, but it would be hard for the Knicks how they have to figure out how to play those two together, which I don't think would work. If I was the GM, I'll probably look for other. You need players like Siakam, and I don't know what other players out there available. And I don't know about Clay Thompson if he still got it. I mean, if Thompson can play the role that Ray Allen played towards the end of his career, just catch and shoot and don't demand a lot of you know balls, I think it would work. But I think the Knicks are fine, man. They have the great coaches. They have great coaches. They the owner finally has decided to take a back seat. Is not in the forefront trying to make
Right.
decisions, and now they became successful. Hopefully, it's gonna stay like that. So they look good, man. I'm excited about the future, man. They're gonna bring better players, and we have all these draft picks also, man. So stay tuned for the Knicks, man.
Well, that's a good thing you mean because if they are gonna bring players in, you can't bring a player that's already street clothes, half broken. When you have a coach that have a reputation that's run players down to the floor, whatnot,
Run you down, right?
you know, I run you down, and you can't bring no Devin Mitchell if he's got to be hurt or Clay Thomas if he's injury prone. Um, But dude, speaking of that toughness, man, yo, let's speak of the next game. Another game 7 that happened. Another history has been made. What a comeback from the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Yes,
The
sir.
only
Yes,
teams
sir.
that could beat Denver Nuggets, in my opinion, was this team. Now, we know the New York Knicks are headed to Cancun. I think the Lakers are coming back to see that some team has did something that they couldn't done in the past 2 seasons. Timberwolves 98, Nuggets 90. Take the series after being down by 20 points. Eight man, Anthony Edwards lead his team.
He didn't even have a great game at all.
Right. But it had these moments when it matters.
Right.
Come
Yeah.
on, guys. Talk to me about this comeback last night, man. What do you take away from this game, my man? Was Minnesota was just a better team? Because the series started weird, right? Minnesota went take 2 games in a row
And
away at Denver,
and never won three
and
straight,
then
right?
Denver won three games in a row. We all, give him Coach Malone all the credit. I mean, Joker being the MVP, the best player in the league right now, show it. And then last night happens. 20 points. The role players did not show up at all. Minnesota role players were better than Denver Nuggets role players last night.
Yeah.
Angie, what was your take on this game, bro?
This series was probably one of the most unpredictable series that anybody could pick.
That's
Like
true.
nobody thought Minnesota would come out 2-0, and they're like, oh, they look unstoppable. They're gonna sweep them. Then Nuggets come back, and then they take game 5, another up 3-2, closing in Minnesota. Then Minnesota decides to blow them out by 45 points, holding an NBA team to
Right.
70 points. Sometimes that's hard to do in a first half of today's NBA. You did it for a whole game. Like that's very impressive.
Yep.
But and it showed last night once they got that run about 5 minutes into the third quarter, they're at 58, but they scored 32, 33 points the rest of the game.
Mhm.
I love it because I'm not a big Mike Malone fan. I think he's a cocky son of a bitch, and I think it's great poetic justice because he was slyly criticizing Lakers last year and this year with
Yeah.
All season.
how I can't believe they're blowing these leads against us. I don't know what's going on. How's it feel? How the fuck? How the fuck does it feel? It
Back.
don't feel too good, and that's why he got activated
Back.
in the post game conference. He was like, "It's hard. Fuck being up 20. We lost. We're going home. Yep. Next, you're not going home. You're staying home because you lost in Denver, Game 7 that you worked so hard for to get to this point to have a Game 7 on your floor if it comes down to that, and you lost. They lost it offensively. They could not score. They Jokic he wasn't attacking Gobert and Towns like he was in the first half, like he did in
Right.
game 5. Because Jokic was having it, if he wanted to, he could have his way. He wasn't getting the touches, the rhythm wasn't there. Jamal Murray was on in the first half and then he wasn't in the second.
Yep.
He wasn't it wasn't just McDaniels on Murray, it was a little bit of McDaniels, a little bit of Ant-Man on him. Like I said, Ant-Man didn't have his game. He kind of imposed his will a little bit in the third quarter. I think he
Yeah.
scored 11 points, something like that. But it's more than the points that he was scoring, it's the energy. When you
Right.
get that energy, you get the momentum, that's infectious, especially to a
Back.
young team like that. Outside of Towns, they're a very, very, very young team. Um, but yeah, there was never. It was
Give
hard
credit.
to.
Make sure you give credit to Towns because when Edward didn't have it going, Town was holding it down.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, Towns. Go Bear.
Yeah.
He's
I mean, he
okay,
did.
I
He
guess.
did okay
Yeah,
compared to what
he did okay,
other.
but yeah, Towns definitely put it in. But it's hard to say the team that had momentum this series could take control because it was all over the place.
Right.
Yeah.
But credit to Timberwolves, they're young, they're hungry, and this is now the 5th year in a row that the reigning champion doesn't get out of the second round. So
Right.
I like that for the NBA. It does help. Now we're not seeing same faces. We're not going Cleveland Golden State for 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
But
It's so
yeah,
funny.
man.
It's so funny coming from a Chiefs fan that don't mind winning Super Bowls every year.
Well, I'm talking about NBA.
Same thing. People don't want to see concede every single year. Anyways, going back to the NBA, listen, there's a couple things I took from that game, first of all. And I don't know what. So imagine this halftime. Denver up by 20 points. What kind of speech is the coach giving in the Denver locker room, and what kind of speech did the coach give in the Timberwolves locker room? Because when they came in the second half, and I don't know who to blame. If we should blame the head coach, if you are up by double digits in Game 7, the most important game in the series, and you come out flat like that, that's what Kobe used to say. You guys don't have a Mamba mentality. You don't have that killer instinct. If you have an underdog down at home by double digits at halftime, when you come in the second half, you gotta put the final shot,
True.
put that nail in the coffin. And I don't know if I should blame the head coach. And the reason why I can't blame the head coach because that's a veteran team. They've won the
Right.
championship. They know what it takes to win. So I can't only blame the coach that he didn't inspire them or motivate them to play better in the third quarter. I can't because these are veteran players. We got the MVP of the league. I gotta give credit to the Timberwolves. Whatever they discussed at halftime, they just came back. They were just coming back 2 points at a time, 3 points at a time. They didn't
Yep.
panic and they did what they had to do, man. It was so impressive, and I was happy. Like everybody else, I don't like Denver. I don't know why, but I don't like Denver. I don't like Denver winning over and over again. And I was so glad that they lost. But I tell you the truth, I never expected that they would lose that game. Like you guys said earlier, this series has been so unpredictable. Nobody would think Denver would lose 2 straight games at home, especially being the defending champions. But they go on the
Right.
road and win another 3 games, and then Game 7 at home in a Mile High City, which everybody says that's the toughest place to play any sport. And then you're up by double
They
digits
won
at
three
halftime,
games. They won 3 games there.
right? Who the Timberwolves, you
Minnesota.
mean?
Minnesota
Right,
won. Yeah.
right. But I'm saying, how can you be the defending champions with the game on the line, Game 7 with the MVP, and a coach like that who always thinks he's better than everybody else, and he just let that lead like that, man. I was
Give
I
him
was
his
happy
credit. Now
because
he's
I
a
love
great
basketball.
coach.
He's a great coach, but I don't like him. I don't mind that they lost.
Now, like when when we look at the game overall, right? Most of the time when we talk about Denver's good game or great games, the role players actually show up. The role players play big, great impact in most of the great games that they won or the big games that they won. But when
Right.
you look at but when you look at last night, Aaron Gordon 4 points,
Oh yeah,
two for
that's
five. You know,
Porter.
Michael Porter
Porter.
Jr., who also been hot, 7 points, 3 for 12. And of course, when you and then who are the Joker just 13 out of 28, and Murray 13 out of 20 27. So most of the shots would be taken. I think the men players, the two focus players, did the job in the first half. And the second half, there was no
Yeah.
help coming from the role players. And the bench players always it's only one person that scored 5 points, which is our boy from J House, man, Christian Brown. Other than that, man, Minnesota just take over this game in the second half. It was a total different game. Like in soccer, when they say the match is two halves, it's a definition of two halves right here.
Yeah,
Man,
but
if it
yeah, but my question for you, Musa, who did you put most blame on though?
I think this is why Coach Malone was so upset at doing the press conference. Like me, I'm gonna blame the role players.
The role
You at
players?
home, yes. You at home, and what do we always say in the playoff? Role players play good at home, and they
Hmm.
didn't show up at all throughout the whole game. They didn't show up. The first
No.
the first 2 quarters, the superstars took over. Murray was having a great half, and now what Joker just getting like double double. I think in the first half he had over 14 rebounds or some shit like that. It's crazy. And the second half, maybe they gas out. Maybe they couldn't do what they did in the first half,
So
and the
don't you
role
ex-
players
so
could have
so
taken over.
do
They didn't.
so don't you expect the coach to make some adjustments at that time when the third quarter is starting going really bad? Why didn't they make certain adjustments to counter whatever the Timberwolves were doing in that third quarter, before fourth
He was
quarter?
already too late once Minnesota already got the momentum. When Minnesota went through that run, remember, like they could have hit no shots in the first half. But in the second
True.
half, when they start hitting shots in the third quarter, especially toward the end, the momentum totally just switched. And I think it was too late for Denver. Denver could have replied. This is not the Lakers. And I say
Yeah,
this is the team that got the chance to beat the Denver Nuggets.
yeah, but this is a team that Denver just beat 3 straight games too. And I mean,
True.
it's like you. I sometimes I always like I I fail to understand how this professional athletes sometimes think. And I've never played at that high level, so I don't know how it is. I can pretend, but
Right.
I just don't see how there's no. It's either like I've watched series where it's either they win by 40 or they lose by 40. I'm like, what the hell? What switches in between? There's no like medium part. Like, why if you won by 40, man, let's lose by two. It's just the game just go like it's a wide swing from a loss to a win. I just don't get it how you can just be so good one night and just so bad next night.
I know that's how I feel about the New York Knicks in the last series, losing money on them motherfuckers.
Listen,
Sharing a bet.
we passed the Knicks.
Right.
We passed the Knicks.
Yeah, but it's gonna be a great Western Conference Finals, man. We got the other game that happened Saturday night. Of course, the Dallas Mavericks take care of business and close out their game and made it to the Western Conference Finals. With Kyrie, of course, Luca took it over with a triple double
Yeah.
and great. Like we were just talking about role players, man. PJ Washington, man, when it mattered the most, he was into foul trouble in the beginning of the game, the first half. And you got to give the Thunders a lot of credit, but they give this game up. They could have pulled this game off, But I'll get to my take. But Angie, are you surprised that Denver take over, win this series over?
Dallas.
Dallas,
Okay,
Dallas.
I mean
Um,
Dallas. My bad.
no, I mean, I think I picked all these games in six. I picked Dallas in six, and we talked about this before the series started about OKC's inexperience coming in. Dallas having I want to call Luca a veteran, but I mean he's you got
He's
Luca
been
and
around.
Kyrie back. Yeah, you got Luca and Kyrie back there. That's a lot of experience. That's a lot of ball handling experience. And they've had basically the same team, give or take a couple pieces for the most part for 4 or 5 years in a row. So I'm not surprised about it. It was pretty evenly matched, I would say. Not a lot of these games were decided by blowouts or anything. They were pretty close down to the wire. Dallas just made it's all about making shots, and sometimes it's as simple as just getting the ball in the hoop. Um, I know a lot of people were kind of criticizing the last play where Shy goes up and follows him at the 3 point line.
Yeah,
Sometimes it's instinct. Like, what do you want him to do? Stand there and take the shot or defend it? And I know Shy, he took accountability saying that he wished he didn't follow him, but I think he should retake that statement because you're playing basketball. You got off ball initially, just
right.
the follow through hit his wrist. So you did your job. It's just unfortunate what happened. But I mean, Dallas prevailed. I'm not surprised either. e- Either way, I mean, OKC. I think they're like the Knicks, where they're ahead. They're definitely ahead of schedule. So this isn't the last we'll see of them, and they have so many damn picks over the next 3 4 years
Right.
because that over there that must be the real process. Trust the process over there, but we'll see. But I mean, this Dallas and Minnesota series, I'm excited. I'm excited to see because even Ant Man said it in the post game. He's like, I'm excited to play against Kyrie and guard
Yep.
him and see what I can do. And I think as NBA fans, we're all excited to see this matchup. Got two young budding superstars with Luca and Ant Man. See what Kyrie can do without LeBron as the pressure
Right.
mounts. I'm just gonna throw that out there, Kyrie.
He's still in the
So
playoff, LeBron is not. But go ahead.
yeah, you're welcome, Luca.
No, it's the other way around. Kyrie, Lucas looking at Kyrie, be like, "Thank you."
So who you
Yeah,
guys? So who you guys got in this next series then?
no, but Solomon, I
Ooh.
like before we get to this question about next year's, please, man. Like, what do you like? Like, how impressed are you with the? Okay, I know you don't watch the West Coast like that, the Western Conference like that, like you
I,
said to me last time. But at the same time, like you gotta give it. Like I know you know basketball enough to watch some of these games. Like
I
when you see
watch.
OKC and then how they done the process thing, as the NG just said.
Right.
Like
You're absolutely right. That's the real process out there on the West, not the one in Philadelphia. That process over there, it's a real process. Look,
right,
Look how many teams they have built since the KD days. And also, you guys got to remember, they are the youngest team in the history of NBA to win the playoff series. So yeah, they got knocked out later on,
Mm,
but they're the youngest team to ever win a series. So, like you guys mentioned earlier, their future looks bright. They got a bunch of picks; they'll be just fine.
right,
Now, was I surprised that the Dallas Mavericks pulled that one out? No. When you have two superstars, I mean, two superstars. Look at Kyrie. Anything is possible.
right,
That's why I'm not shocked, but I give credit to OKC. I think OKC they're gonna be a tough team to deal with in the next 5-10 years. Them and
right,
the Timberwolves are here to stay. Because the Denver, the Lakers, the Clippers, all these other teams in the the West, they better watch out. Get ready for those two teams, and also don't forget San Antonio gonna get better. Um, so listen, like you said, we've seen Luka by himself. He can't do it. That's why I agree. Luka is probably saying thank you for Kyrie being in Dallas because now if Luka's the off game, Kyrie can always take over.
right.
So those two players right there, I don't know if Oklahoma could have done anything different to stop both players. It was just not possible. They don't have the skill and they don't have the experience,
Right.
but they'll be back there next year though.
Yes, because this game too is another comeback that the Dallas did. And for
Right.
me, in this game, particularly in this game, I'm gonna give Jason Kidd the credit, the head coach. I know we don't speak about giving so much head coaches credits, but because we got there's a lot of superstars that handle the business. But when they were down coming into the second half, if you notice, he made a few adjustments, which they went to the zone defense because they couldn't stop Oklahoma. Oklahoma, I think, like talent, like yes, talent's why we got Luka, we got Kyrie. But Oklahoma being a great team, they played together all season. Shea is another player that probably out of the young players, he probably might be top 10 or top 5 players.
Oh yeah, top
But when you
five
look,
threat.
yeah, but when you look at the game overall, Dallas actually win this as a team. The role players, the bench players, everybody contributed this game. So you gotta
Right,
give a lot of credit to PJ Washington, man. I never really know much about him when he was in New Orleans. I mean, with the Hornets, my bad.
right.
And now look at him, man, hitting back-to-back threes when it mattered the most. Like that matters, that's actually lift everybody else around up, even the star players. And I give the credit to Jason Kidd, man. Great adjustment and great way to build chemistry among these teams. And Kyrie and Luka, when they first
Right.
got together, who knows that they could do this together?
Right.
Everybody's like, that's not gonna work. They're both ball dominated, but hey, look, they're in the Western Conference Finals, my guy.
Right. And I do agree because almost six players scored in double digits. PG Washington scored 9 points, but they got 12 points from the bench. Well, actually, they had what 18 points from the no, they got a bunch of points from the bench. So their bench out. They didn't only depend on Kyrie and Luka to win this game. I'm looking at the stats. They had contribution from the bench from everywhere. So I guess you gotta give credit to Jason Kidd for putting his role players in position
Yep.
to be successful.